My name is Jochen Lichtenberger. I'm the captain of this Boeing 777 from Aerologic, and today you will join us on a flight from Bangalore to Leipzig.
Yeah, it is my pleasure as well. My name is Chris. Hi and good morning on this 777 flight to Leipzig. It is my pleasure to be pilot flying today, which is quite cool, and we are both, I guess, pretty looking forward to this flight.
Me too.
Let's go.
Let's do it. I show you the walk around now, and you are happily welcome to join me on this walk around. Let's go. We start here at the front section of the aircraft. I particularly look at those probes, the pitot tube, and the side of the aircraft, and afterwards I go to the nose wheel. We have a look at the tires, the wheel structure, and of course the nose wheel bay. But a good opportunity, which you usually don't see, are those open gear doors, which is quite impressive. We come to this point in a few seconds, okay? This is the core of the Boeing 777 freighter. The engine, the General Electric GE 115. I checked the motor, the fan blades. The reason why you see it is still turning or running is because of the wind effects. Okay. We check for possible oil, damages, leakage. Yeah, one disadvantage of flying a large aircraft is it's a long way. So I take a look at the structure of the wing tips, the lights, the navigation lights. There are two bulbs, both of them are illuminated, looks great. And once we're at this position, we also take a look at the overall, the whole aircraft, the fuselage, and particularly the tail section, okay? So we go back to the wheels and take a look over there. Here I'm particularly interested in the tires and the brake section. You see those little pins here? They indicate if the parking brake is set, the wear and tear situation of the brakes. So once this pin comes flush, it's time to change the brakes. Okay? We check that for each tire for 4, 6, 12 per wheel. And like I said, this is something you usually don't see. It's quite impressive. That is where the main gear goes into. Usually those big lids are usually closed, the doors, the gear doors, when we do the outside check. They just open before the gear vents into the fuselage. Tail section, quite interesting, is about 18 meters high. This is quite high, like a 6-story building. Even if it doesn't look like it is pretty high. The wingspan of the aircraft is about 67 meters in total. Okay, again, the wing structure, the flaps, the ailerons, and all those little lids that you see up there, we have to check them. Looks good. Let's go to the engine number 1. Once again, main emphasis is that there is no leakage, no hydraulic liquid fuel or whatsoever below the engine. I checked that around the engine, all sides, all lids are closed. Looks perfect. This one is not rotating right now, so it's easily to check all the fan plates and the whole engine. It's not on a need-to-know basis, but it's quite interesting. This engine, one engine, costs about $30 million. And the diameter of this engine is as big as the fuselage of a Boeing 737. We made it. The outside check, the walk around that is required by every flight.
Facing east on Lima 1.
Pushback start approved facing east on Lima 1, SpiceJet 3521, thank you.
Ground will start.
It's in not a clearance, okay?
Bangalore ground at net 536.
At net 536, ground.
So confirm clearance with you.
Negative, contact delivery 121.825.
Ground airfly
6:25, now 15 minutes to go.
Perfect.
Follow
okay, pre-flight checklist.
Stand 86, high fly 485.
Oxygen.
High fly.
Tested 100% left.
Tested 100% right. Flight instruments.
Heading 182, altimeters 2960, 1015 left.
Heading 182, altimeter 2960, 1015 right. Pre-flight checklist complete.
Alpha will give way to Jet Airways, thereafter follow Alpha 1, holding point with 275321.
Ready for a briefing anytime.
Okay, ready for brief?
Ready for briefing.
Very good. So the aircraft is in a good shape. The weather is quite nice around the airport. And nothing special in the NOTAMs. Have you seen something?
Nope.
Very good. So let's start with the taxi part. Expect to be pushed facing east on Lima 2.
Yep.
And we then continue our taxi via Lima 2, either hotel or in some remote cases Delta, onto Alpha, and then all the way down to Alpha 1 for runway 27, where the performance will be done from.
Ground Air India 564.
For the SID, which is on plate 4-17.
India 564, unable.
It will be the Opamo 5 departure out of runway 27. The MSA in the area we are operating in will be 5,900 feet, so let's call it 6,000 then to be safe. And the chart says RNAV 1 is required, GNSS or DME is required, and radar. Warning aircraft to follow SID level speed restriction unless otherwise authorized by ATC. And the level restriction will be climb flight level 90 and further climb shall be authorized by ATC.
Checked.
And routing wise, it says initially 3,500 feet, thereafter right turn, Bravo Lima 501, 6,000 feet at least, thereafter further right turn, Bravo Lima 503, maximum flight level 90, and after that Opamo. Initially, as we said, flight level 90, and
The airborne frequency is 127.750, which is pre-selected.
Yeah, and the switching is in 3,800, confirm?
Exactly, 3,800 feet. Anything to add so far?
Nothing to add. Maybe for the specials that we switch the lights in 30,000.
Yeah, because of the high elevation of the airport.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So I'm ready for the emergency then.
Good. Just get the acceleration altitude set here, 4,500.
I fly 592, continue taxi to
Okay,
Alpha Alpha 1,
emergency briefing. Up to 80 knots, you basically board for any malfunction, undesired condition. Between 80 knots and we want only for a fire indication, engine failure if the aircraft is unable to fly or predicted wind shear. When I decide to stop, I call it out, stop, close the thrust lever, disconnect the auto throttle, use thrust reverse, and we both monitor the auto brake and speed brake function. Then we bring it to a full stop, and remain seated will be the call 3 times, and afterwards, if there are any memory items necessary on the ground, will be my items, and you watch me. And if we have to evacuate the aircraft, we do that with our guests on board via the stick checklist according to SOP. Okay,
checked.
After V1 is your part.
After V1, I will ensure that the aircraft is in positive control. Lift off initially around 12 degrees. Positive rate, gear up. And above 200 feet, I ask you to execute the engine out SID. And when the aircraft is in trim, I ask you to engage the autopilot. At or above 400 feet, I ask you to identify the malfunction. And we carry out any memory items as applicable. At 1500 feet, we will accelerate, retract the flaps on schedule. We do the non-number checklist, we do an ICAS review, we do the after takeoff checklist, and initially climb along the engine out SID, which should be available in the FMC, to 6,000 feet. The engine out SID reads at distance 3.6 out of Bravo India Alpha, on heading 285, intercept and proceed on radial 282 outbound of via to ECVOC at 21 DME and join the hold over there. And this is exactly, as I said, coded in the FMC. So we will do that. When we are at 6,000 feet, we will assess the situation via a foredeck, and we take a decision after that foredeck and carry out the drills. In case of any time critical failure, fire, smoke, fumes, we will do a left-hand traffic pattern to avoid the terrain in the north. And as we're pretty heavy today, with around 320 tons, we will have to do a overweight landing checklist. You will do this checklist, I will fly the aircraft, and then we will re-land on this runway 27 here in Bangalore. You have any questions?
No questions.
Very good.
Checked. We'll wait for the... Oh, here we got it.
Roger.
The load sheet. Thank you. So, Lima Fox.
I fly 406, continue taxi via hotel, turn left on Lima 3, hold W stand 28.
Continue via hotel.
This is in OTOC, and you got the journey log copies already. Is that right?
Yeah, I've got it.
Yeah, okay. You have this one? You don't need this one, we take.
Anyway, the copy from the
Okay, then is this one is for our flight fold.
signature for this aircraft release certificate for Indian ports.
Thank you. Bye bye.
We just got the clearance via data link.
Okay.
It says PDC 165 cleared to Leipzig off runway 27. This is in via the OPAMO 5 departure, which is in as well. Squawk 0643 is in. And next frequency 121.825, initially climb and maintain flight level 7,000 feet. Yeah.
7,000 is set.
I already accepted that one.
Good. So So I've got some numbers for you.
Yes, sir, go ahead.
The zero fuel weight, 233.9er.
233.9er, that checks. Indicated takeoff weight 314.2 tons.
Nope, 319.3 I've got here.
Okay, what's the zero fuel weight again? 233.9?
Yeah, 238.9.
Okay, that makes sense. 238.9 and indicated takeoff weight 319.2.
Yeah. 319.2 is checked. The landing weight is 247.6. MSC takeoff is 31.6. And the lowest for the cruise CG will be 29.2.
Perfect, there is the calculation.
Delivery at 9 to 536 total on
Flaps 5 is checked.
Net 536 BOB 158, copied, confirm ready.
That's then no D-rate, but assumed 35 degrees. 99.6 to 100.4, it's checked. 727779er, 179er. It's set at LNAV, VNAV.
Very good.
Okay.
So the link clearance we got.
I go and close the doors.
Yep.
Doors on, the other one will follow. Ground to flight deck.
Please go ahead, Captain.
Can you confirm that all doors are closed, steering pin is inserted, we are cleared to pressurize hydraulics?
Affirm, Captain. I can present the hydraulics.
Okay. Then, before start, setup. Stairs are moving. I will arm the one left, the door, okay?
Shut, yep.
Bangalore delivery, red night 1124. We have 148 souls on board through security. May we change over?
So, everything is set up so far. We are doing in a couple of seconds the pre-flight checklist. For the moment, we went off blocks already. So on time, of course, 6:40 was the time. Got off blocks at 6:39. So, pre-flight checklist.
Just a recar.
Checked.
Check. Perfect. Passenger signs.
On.
MCB.
V2 179 heading 272, altitude 7000.
Takeoff speeds.
V1 172, we are 177, V2 179er.
CDO pre-flight.
Completed.
Trim.
3.75 units, 0.
Departure briefing.
Completed.
Before start check is complete.
Okay.
Bangalore Tower, very good morning. German Cargo 531 on stand 49. Security checks completed, QNH 1015. 3 persons on board. Lift out a link clearance, request push and start.
German Cargo 531 ground, pushback in start of route facing east on Lima 2.
Pushback and start is approved, facing east on Lima 2, German Cargo 531.
Ground to flight deck.
Please go ahead, Captain.
We have the pushback and startup clearance to face east on Lima 2.
Facing east Lima 2, copy Captain, confirm parking brake release.
Parking brake is released now. The off-block time was 0639.
0639, copy Captain.
Off block on time and the day starts great.
Go ahead 830 ground, pushback and start off route facing east on Lima 3.
Pushback fast start of approach facing east Lima 3. Go ahead 830.
Wow. We even took the coffee synchro.
Yeah.
Synchronized.
We are so in tune.
Yeah, our pushback procedure just started. We are waiting for the ground crew to get the release for the engine start.
Captain, clear to engine start.
Okay, the sequence will be right and left.
Copy, Captain. Please go ahead.
Start right engine.
Please go ahead, Captain.
Request taxi at night 1124.
Follow me ground, take position in front of Air Asia bus 320, Abhim stand 23 for lane change.
We'll go follow me 4.
Captain, pushback completed. Please set parking brake on.
Parking brake is set.
Copy, Captain.
Start left engine.
Please go ahead, Captain.
Redneck 1124, follow me jeep to change lane from Lima 3 to Lima 1, thereafter taxi by Lima 1 Delta, turn right on Alpha 1, holding point runway 27.
Roger, follow me, change lane from Lima 3 to Lima 1, thereafter Delta, Alpha 1 for runway 27, Redneck 1124.
Okay, we had two good engine starts. You can prepare the aircraft for taxiing. Show us the steering pin on the right hand side, and we'd like to thank you for your service and wish you a nice day.
Copy, Captain. Have a nice day. See you next time. Bye bye. Have a good day.
Bye bye. See you.
Redneck 536.
So intercom is on.
1243, Redneck 536.
Before taxi setup, flaps 5. Flight controls.
I can see the man with the pin and all the equipment is removed.
Good, clear sign received. Then rudder left, rudder right, and before taxi checklist.
Record.
Checked.
Engine anti-ice.
And auto.
Record.
Checked.
Flight controls.
Checked.
Ground equipment.
Clear.
Before taxi checklist complete.
Get ok.
Let's go.
German Cargo 531, request taxi.
Station calling ground.
It's German Cargo 531, request taxi.
German Cargo 531 ground, taxi by Lima 2, hotel, turn right on Alpha, hold short of Alpha 5.
Taxi via Lima 2 Hotel, turn right on Alpha and hold short of Alpha 5, Chicago 531.
Requesting taxi, go ahead 8.
Left side is clear.
Right side is clear.
Ground 830, requesting taxi.
Go ahead 830 ground. Taxi via Lima 3 Delta, turn right on Alpha, Alpha 1, holding point.
Starts a little bit to rain. Might be that we have to recalculate the takeoff data for wet runway. We will decide that in a couple of minutes, okay? Before takeoff checklist.
Before takeoff checklist complete.
Checklist complete. So next taxiway is Hotel. To the left and then to the right on taxiway Alpha.
That is true. And then Alpha 5 will be the second intersection on the left.
Copied. So I guess it starts to rain a little. I would say we recalculate the takeoff data. Okay.
Yeah, we can use the stop on Alpha 5 for that.
Yeah, if we stop, good. But if not, we just do that in the holding position at Alpha 1.
Sounds good. To me, right side is clear.
Checked.
Oh, it's funny because your windshield is raining and the my side is fine.
Strange, isn't it?
Ground Alpha 827.
Alpha 827 ground. Continue taxi via Alpha Hotel, turn left on Lima 1. On Lima
so
1,
we are on our way to the runway 27 to the holding point Alpha 1. In front of us we have about one aircraft on the runway 27.
Continue taxi via Alpha, Alpha 1, holding point runway 27, point at tower 124.
And about 3 aircraft in front of us on the taxiway.
Yeah, that was us.
Chicago 531, we continue taxi via Alpha to Alpha 1 runway 27. And can you say again the tower frequency for us, please?
Cargo 531, monitor tower 124.35.
124.35, thank you very much. Have a good day, Cargo 531.
Good day.
So, tower frequency is monitored 127.750 as the above frequency is pre-selected for you, and we are going to continue our taxi via Alpha to the holding point. 3 aircraft, it's 2 aircraft actually in front of us.
Checked.
Red Knight 1124, runway 27, cleared for takeoff, wind 27 degrees, 1 for knot.
Runway 27 clear for takeoff.
It's not raining, is it? I mean, there's just a few sprinkles there, it's not rain. I thought it's gonna start, but I think we can skip the new takeoff calculation. That is only a few drops actually.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even damp, so...
Nope.
Because, I mean, better safe than sorry, but the problem with going for the wet calculation now is that it reduces the decision speed, so you probably might abort for things you wouldn't in other cases.
Approaching cruise.
Tower, Namaskar, flight 345.
Flight 345, Namaskar, continue approach runway 27, wind 280 degrees 13 knots.
Continue approach runway 27, flight 345.
4830, runway 27, cleared for takeoff, wind 280 degrees 13 knots.
Clear for takeoff, runway 27, go ahead 830.
Okay, seems like there is one in front of us to land.
Go Air. You see that?
Yeah.
Go Air. Yeah. There she goes, the Go Air.
So, runway 27 Alpha 1. There is one approaching which is inside by me for runway 27, and we're waiting for him after that. At least I expect to get
After 345, runway 27 clear to land, wind 290 degrees 13 knots.
Clear to land, runway 209, flight 345.
Jammu Cargo 53 on Bangalore, sir.
Jammu Cargo 531, go ahead.
Landing traffic short line runway 27 inside.
The traffic control final is inside. Jammu Cargo 531.
Jammu Cargo 531 behind the landing traffic, line up behind.
Behind the landing traffic, line up runway 27 behind Jammu Cargo 531.
Yep, as expected.
Okay, the traffic is inside. Runway 27 is identified.
Checked. There he is, A320 Neo. Our projector is clear.
Checked. So, clear lineup only.
Affirm. I go for the weather radar.
Alpha 7, turn left on Alpha.
Alpha 7, left on Alpha, flight 345.
I go for terrain.
After 345, contact ground 121.65.
126, good day, flight 345.
Good day. Jammu Cargo 531, runway 27 cleared for takeoff, wind 290 degrees 13 knots.
Runway 27 cleared for takeoff, Jammu Cargo 531.
Ready?
Ready.
Takeoff. Your controls?
My controls.
Thrust set.
Checked.
$80 knots.
Checked.
After 407 on localizer 10 dB.
After 407, continue approach runway 27, wind 28 degrees 12 knots.
Continue approach, runway 27.
Rotate.
I fly 317, runway 27 clear to land, wind 28 degrees 12 knots.
Positive rate.
Gear up.
7 after 312.
Switching.
Check.
Bangalore radar, Namaskar. German Cargo 531 out of 4,300, landing 7,000.
German Cargo 531, Bangalore, approach radar, Namaskar. Identified climb unrestricted to flight level 140.
Unrestricted climb until flight level 140, German Cargo 531. 140 is set.
Checked. Speed intervention 200, just to make the restriction overhead properly in 501.
German Cargo 531, passing 6,000 feet, proceed direct to Wamos. German Cargo 531, proceed direct to Wamos.
Direct to Wamos, German Cargo 531.
Good. Good.
Wamos on top.
Execute. Cancel speed intervention.
Now is in.
Bangalore Virginia for Bravo Fox Sierra.
Flaps 1.
Flaps 1 set.
Flaps up.
Flaps up set.
After takeoff checklist.
After takeoff checklist complete.
Speed intervention to 60 bitte.
Hi-Fi 229720
Transition.
Release speed to
Standard
180 knots.
set.
Release speed Hi-Fi 2297.
That's checked.
Bangalore approach Hi-Fi 389, passing 4000 feet, Tulna 5 departure.
Hi-Fi 389 radar identified, climb unrestricted to flight level 140.
Climb unrestricted, flight level 140, Hi-Fi 389.
Autopilot.
Checked.
Make it, yeah. To accelerate.
German Cargo 531, contact control radar 119.45.
1945, German Cargo 531, bye-bye.
Right.
Speed intervention cancelled.
77 for Red 145.
10,000 is passed. Wait for the lights until 13,000.
Yeah, checked.
12775
Bangalore, Namaskar, German Cargo 531, out of flight level 110, climbing 140.
German Cargo 531 radar, continue climb to flight 280 unrestricted.
Climbing unrestricted, flight level 280, German Cargo 531.
280.
280 is checked.
What speed do you want? KWS 815, speed 250 as of now. Climb to flight 230. Climb 230, go ahead 830.
So, 13,000.
Check.
KWS 815, continue descent to flight 150, speed 220 knots. 0905,
So, let's try to log on to Chennai
requesting
CPDLC.
190 for 389. Okay, climb to flight level 190. Climb flight level 190 for 389.
8 hours, 20 minutes, and we are there.
Yep.
Yep.
Contact Chennai Center on 24.5.
Proceed direct to Tulna. Proceed direct to Tulna, 389.
Accept. Chennai Center, Namaskar, German Cargo 531, out of flight level 181, climbing 280.
German Cargo 531, stand with radar contact. German Cargo 531, radar identified, climb to flight level 320, report higher level preference.
German Cargo 531, climb to flight level 320, and our requested level is 320, the final.
German Cargo 531, 320 may not be available, alternate 300 or 340, report preference. German Cargo 531, stop climb level 300.
German Cargo 531, we stopped the climb flight level 300, and we will accept 300 for a while, and request 340 then later.
7 Cargo 51, Roger. Climb and maintain flight level 300, proceed direct Agela.
Climb to flight level 300 and direct Agela, German Cargo 531.
300.
300 is checked. Execute.
Contact Mumbai Control 125.35, good day.
Mumbai Control 125.35, good day. Chilliways, German.
I fly 985, request left.
So.
I fly 560, report preferred level.
I fly 563, request level 360.
So I requested the wind for flight level 300 anyway, so the calculations should be accurate. Paper makes an airplane fly.
I fly 985, contact radar 128.1.
So our actual planned cruising level was 320. Didn't get it for the moment, so 300 will be it for the moment, and later on we step it up to 340. Our max cruise level right now is 337. That's why we decided to stay in 300.
Yeah, a reason for that being could be the traffic situation in the airspace we are operating in. Always a pleasure to be here. It is such a pleasure that I will be here next week again.
Next week again?
Same time, same theater.
I'll think about you while I'm on vacation.
Yeah, please think about me.
Really looking forward to it. I mean, Friday, today actually last day, and then tomorrow already vacation.
That's nice, you're sitting on a boat.
Yep.
And now I can see the FO doing a prediction for the future. It will now, in a few seconds, sound the chime. There you go. Which means we are approaching our cruising flight level.
Hi folks again. We are right now in flight level 300 overhead the Arabian Sea, and I will use this time to show you a little bit about the features in our cockpit of the Boeing's 777 freighter. I start this with the overhead panel. Okay, we go from the top to the lower part of the cockpit, and you can see those panels are divided. Here on top, on the very left side, we've got basically our electrical panel, where we can switch the different modes from the APU, and we have switches to control the generators in case of malfunctions, and also the ground power is a very important topic for the ground ops. For the panel right adjacent to that, on the right side, we've got here some window heat controlling, emergency lights, supernumerary oxygen, and this whole panel here controls the hydraulics of the Boeing 777 with several systems, backup systems, and right below it we've got the light panels. We control here the supernumerary signs, like the famous fasten seatbelt signs, and here is basically the lighting controlled outside the aircraft, like the landing lights, and also switches to adjust the brightness in the cockpit. Okay. The next panel is basically divided in a fire section, where we can control the or firefight the APU in case we need it. Also, we have the cargo fire depression system here, and the next system right below it is the engine EEC mode panel, and this big panel here is basically for the controlling of the fuel system. We have the jettison system and the normal fuel system. Most of the parts, most of the time of the flights, you don't touch them at all. The most of the switches, this applies for most of the switches actually. But in case of we need it, and we follow the checklists, we need them. Right below we have the anti-ice section, and again, lower section is controlling lights, the beacon light, nav logo and wing lights, and the runway turn off, taxi lights, strobe lights. And on the very right side we've got the lower cargo compartment temperature selectors, the air conditioning panel adjacent to the bleed air panel, and yeah, that's about it basically about the overhead panel. I mean, you see a lot of the CBs overhead. We basically don't touch them. It's just a thing. If the checklist says we do so, we do, but most of the cases you don't touch them, even if they are popped. Okay. Next section in the cockpit I'd like to explain is here the panel, overhead panel on the or the panel with the autopilot control section and the EFIS control section. The center part is controlling the autopilot, where you've got the different modes and the heading selector and the altitude selector, and yeah, that's pretty much it about the autopilot. I don't want to get too much into detail, but it explains the panel. The EFIS control panel allows us to change settings on our nav display, which I'm coming to in a few seconds. For example, if I want to change the range over here, I can do that with this knob selector. It changes the range, just one function. Okay. The same panel is for the first officer on the right side of the aircraft, of the panel, and yeah, that's basically it. We also control here the ACA section, where we can switch to several channels on our lower DU. For example, if I want to get an overview of the electrical system right now, I push this button, electrical, and you can see the synopsis of the electrical system right now. Same applies if I switch to the hydraulics. I see the whole hydraulic system displayed, and yeah, we've got also fuel, air, doors, the gear, and the flight controls displayed if we want to. And the lower part here, those three buttons, they allow us to switch to the checklist. For example, if I press the checklist button like I just did it right now, the next checklist in a sequence pops up. For us today on this flight, it will be the descent checklist, obviously, because we are in cruise. And right now, no items of those are made, and you see that because they are all blank. Later on in the flight, they will turn to green, actually. Yeah, we have the COM function here, where we can switch to where we can adjust the CPDLC function. We can communicate. There's a communication section where we can talk to or communicate with the ground and ATC stations and all other things. And we also can switch it as a nav. In the nav mode, then we have basically the same display unit and the same displays displayed here in the center unit, actually. Okay, so much for this little panel. Yeah, I've just talked about the DUs, the display units. You can see them here. The very left one on my side, and of course the right one of the first officer. So the outboard DUs, they show us the primary flight displays, like the flight director, our current airspeed, Mach number, and of course the altitude, the flight level in this case. And of course we see all the modes that are engaged in our autopilot, which we control with this panel over here. Like right now we have the speed mode and the lateral navigation mode in VNAV path. The next DU, I mentioned that already. It is the navigation display. And yeah, we can see our track basically. We can we have the weather function there, so if there would be some weather up there, we could see those weather cells and circumnavigate them in case we need to. The center DU shows us the primary engine parameters right now. As you can see, we have the N1 there, the EGT displayed, and this mode is switched in a secondary mode. We can, you see those little parameters? They would also pop up if something really occurs, like the oil pressure drops low. There is a pop-up function, and this would be displayed also in the lower DU, more detailed, okay? Yeah, and on the right side, at the first officer side of the cockpit, we have basically the same displays that I mentioned here on my side, so everything is duplicated basically. Yeah, talking about the flight management system, we have two FMCs here, one on the left side, one on the right side, where we put in our flight plans, and we can load the winds and lots of several things like the navigation performance data. Everything is basically entered here at this display and will influence the parameter then. Yeah, we have two of them, and one third box is right here at the center panel, also fully usable, and in case we need it as a backup. What we also do on this display here is we have the function of the our SAT voice system and the SAT radios, and also a couple of functions like in case of malfunctions of other systems, we can use here an alternate function. This little pedal here in the middle is basically has a direct influence on controlling the aircraft. Of course, you see both the throttles, left side, right side. Of course, you have the speed brake lever, and you have the flap lever, and those things are used quite much. Those ones are alternate pitch trim levers, very rarely used actually, only in a simulator and situations which we don't want to show you today. And I have the fuel control panel here, the fuel control switches, which make the engine either to run or in case of we need to cut off. Right next to it we have the stabilizer cutout switches, also switches that we would need in a emergency situation as the checklist dictates. On the lower side, I showed you this handle before on the top panel. It was for the APU, and those both fire handles, they are for the engines, the left one and the right one respective. And yeah, that's for the engine fire and this little part here, the center part. The rest of it, what you can see here is most of that is duplicated again, so we have the same things here like we have here, like our VHF radios and HF radio collection panel. Here is the intercom panel where we can set all the radios that we want to listen to, and we've got the weather radar here, and of course another standby radio. So in total that makes it 3 radios that we have on board. So I mentioned the weather radar, and on the opposite we have our transponder mode selector. Okay, this little panel here is just to communicate with their either the supernumerary area, cargo area, or the main deck, and it goes, if somebody calls us, it will pop up here with a load chime, and we see that. This is the trim panel where we can see just the rudder trim, aileron trim, and yeah, that's about it. Yeah, one of the most important things I didn't mention yet is of course our control wheel column. It's not like in the Airbus with a little side stick here. It is still like the old-fashioned way with the yoke, and of course the rudder panels that control the rudder, and this here the ailerons and the elevator, of course. This tiny little knob here on the left side controls our nose wheel steering while we are on the ground. It's usually done in our company as a policy by the captain, but the co-pilot has also his tiller system and could control in case of the nose wheel. Yeah, that's about it about the flight deck.
Even though the cockpit is in fact the most interesting part of the aircraft, there is something more to it. I will now show you the world behind the curtain. Start off, as pilots are regular humans, we sometimes need to enlighten ourselves, so therefore we got a toilet, which is right over here. Here to the left, our toilet. And we are not always operating as a two-man crew, so sometimes we are 3 or even 4 pilots, and for this case we do have a crew rest featuring 2 beds, one upper, one lower. This is basically where we conduct our in-flight rest, and those are 2 more or less regular beds in an own compartment. There is as well a curtain to separate each bed from the other, and this gives you a nice little bit of privacy in the crew rest. So there is as well a own separate temperature controller to control the temperature in the crew rest, and of course 2 doors to separate it from the rest of the supernumerary area. The rest of the supernumerary area looks like this. We have 4 nice comfortable seats over here, and 2 jump seats, which are here and here. These seats are empty most of the times, but anyway, from time to time they are occupied by cargo attendants or horse grooms, which take care of, like the name says, our cargo or live animals which are in the cargo compartment. The most comfortable position is illustrated for you over here. This is obviously this position of the seat. And for this cargo attendants to get access to the cargo compartment, we have 2 doors, which is one over here and one on the other side of the aircraft. You can use one of these doors to get access to the cargo compartment in flight. Those doors are opened like this. And of course the main cargo compartment is pressurized, because otherwise we would have a problem right now. So this is how it looks in the cargo compartment. Even though the cargo compartment is pressurized, every person entering the cargo compartment needs to carry one of these portable oxygen tanks, just in case we get a rapid decompression, because obviously there are no masks falling down in the cargo compartment. What we have over here is the cargo door operating panel. You can, of course, only on the ground, unlock and open the big rear cargo door. And as well, we have over here a display which shows a camera image from a camera which is located in the horizontal stabilizer in the back of the aircraft, just to give you an indication in which position the main cargo door is. And down here we have the lighting control for the whole supernumerary area, as well as for the cargo compartment, and a little switch down here, or better to say a regulator. You can fine-tune the temperature in here in the supernumerary area. Just because of the fact that we don't have flight attendant, this does not mean that none of the guys here in this area doesn't need to know the safety procedures on this aircraft. For this reason, we have first of all a self-briefing which needs to be viewed and signed in advance, as well as a safety card, which is like in passenger aircraft, more or less located in the seat pocket in front of you. It is not a seat, but it is a pocket at least. And to the right of that, we do have some place to stow jackets and stuff over here, if there are any. At the moment they are in the suitcases, and we do have obviously as well our galley. It is smaller than on a regular 777, but it's just in normal cases for 2 or 4 guys here on board, which is more than sufficient. We do have the coffee maker here, which is probably one of, if not even the most important thing here in the galley. And to the right of that there is a water heater to get warm water from right over here, and there is one oven, which is more than sufficient basically. And down here is all of our catering, stored in boxes, which are cooled as well, because most of our catering gets catered in Leipzig at our home base, so it will be carried throughout the rotation, like on this flight through Bangkok, through Singapore, down to Bangalore. It's still there, so that's the reason why it needs to be cooled. To the right of here we have some additional emergency equipment down here. We do have some supplementary oxygen, we do have medical oxygen, we do have a first aid kit, and what we do have as well are 2 ELTs. These orange fellows over here, and they are basically to be at your disposal if we need to ditch somewhere. We take them on board, we take them overboard, we take them with us, so that we can get located in case it's needed. I hope you enjoyed the backstage tour on our Boeing 777 freighter a lot. Break is over, I need to get back to work.
So, we are with Muscat, 2.5 hours down the road. What's next, Muscat?
Another 6 to go.
Dubai, Iran, Turkey, Europe, Leipzig.
So to say.
That's it.
Yeah, maybe we can talk a little bit and tell our followers how a typical day with a freighter pilot with Aerologic looks like, or a typical rotation That's how we call it. Rotation basically is, we call it our duty days in a row. So that means that for this rotation today, you are on the flight with us from Bangalore to Leipzig. But of course we started a couple of days ago, and our rotation started in Frankfurt, and we took a flight with Gulf Air to Bahrain, where we spent about 24 hours in Bahrain in a hotel. And after that we were on duty flying our 777 from Aerologic from Bahrain to Bangalore. And then we had about 2 hours, was it 2 hours? 2 days layover in
like 60 hours or so.
Yeah, almost 60 hours in Bangalore, which was actually pretty nice. Nice hotel, nice weather, and before we came up today with this flight to Leipzig, and past now 2.5 hours, like we said, and we have another 6 hours to go.
There are a few different rotations. Sometimes you proceed to your starting point, basically, like we did this week with our proceeding to Bahrain. Sometimes you just do a there and back, so you go from Leipzig to Shanghai, and after 24 hours or so back to Leipzig. And sometimes you do a couple of flights in a row, like the famous Leipzig, Bangkok, Singapore, Bangalore, Leipzig, which makes it especially interesting for me, because in most of the carriers, especially passenger, you do a long haul flight with sometimes minimum rest, and followed by the same long haul flight back. And this basically means 12 hours there, 24 hours there, 12 hours back, that's it. But in our operation, the nice thing is that you fly a wide body aircraft and mix it up with some short routes as well. We do sometimes we do Leipzig East Midlands and back, we do Leipzig Brussels and back, and we do other short sectors like Bangkok Singapore, which is just, what is it, 1 hour 50 or so?
Something like that, about 2 hours, yeah.
Yeah, the flight time. So that's quite nice, because it really gives a bit of diversity to the daily life as a pilot, and that is one of many positive things, flying especially freighter for Aerologic.
This is the good side so far. The bad side is obviously the time zones that you travel through. And sometimes it's pretty hard actually to get adjusted to those times, especially if you go for a flight with a minimum rest and you start at a time where you're actually supposed to sleep at home, and that makes it sometimes hard. And of course, talking about family or friends at home, being away for 3 up to 7 days, like we said, it's sometimes a challenge, really. But on the other hand, it gives you so much back, because you can't spend time at home during the week where others have to work. I mean, if you got children, you can get them to the kindergarten and back, whatever. I mean, those are the advantages of the disadvantages, like to say. Okay, but overall, the long haul ops is, I call it, for me, it's a kind of an attitude. Before I was flying for the Hapag-Lloyd, and nowadays known as TUI Fly, and that was a totally different operation. I mean, it was flying 5 or 6 days a week, being home every night. It's okay, but I really like the long haul ops more than the trips in Europe, like the domestic flying or Europe flying. It's kind of an attitude, but I guess you can tell that only after you experience it for a while. You have to make this experience. And I mean, in Aerologic so far there's no way back, because we don't have another ops right now. We are stuck to it, but I like it. We like it, I guess.
Yeah, and to be honest, it is quite nice to get on the plane in Leipzig on a brisk and cold winter morning, where they do the de-icing on the airplane, and 10 hours back, 10 hours later, you're in Bangkok, and it's like 30 degrees outside, and it's I mean, it is, I would call it quite close to holiday in some way. So that's pretty much okay.
But don't tell anybody. Holiday, he didn't say holiday.
Yeah, no, he didn't. For the company, no. But
actually, how did you start your career? What was it? What made you being a pilot?
That story goes far back into my childhood. In the age of what was it, 6 years? At the age of 6, I was on my first passenger flight from my hometown to Zurich, which was on a CLJ 200.
Okay.
Back in the day, it was a lot easier to get access granted to the flight deck, and of course I took the chance, asked the flight attendant.
Oh, that's what I did when I was a child. Yeah.
Yeah, that's usually how it starts, and I've been there in the flight deck, and actually what was really the last spark which ignited the fire and for aviation and the desire to become a pilot was the flight back, because it was a really heavy thunderstorm, and it was so cool.
That was cool?
Yeah, it was so cool.
Let's avoid those things today, okay?
Yeah, I mean,
okay.
They avoided it as well, but seeing those thunderstorms and circumnavigate them, seeing them through the aircraft window, for me it looks different than from the ground. So that was the last piece of it, and so this was the day I decided to become a pilot.
Cool. Yeah.
And
it's almost like me. I got this. I guess it's kind of a virus. I do it. It's a passion thing, I think. I started also. I don't have anybody in my family that is a pilot. Or was a pilot before, but I was affected with that since I was a child. I built up those little planes with Lego and stuff, and then later on I built those radio-controlled models and started them. And then by the time of when I turned 14, I figured out that I could become a glider pilot with 14. I mean, and that was pretty cool. So I went ahead and tried to get up a nice glider club in my vicinity. Hometown is Frankfurt, and I found this glider club, the soaring club. It's called the Aeroclub Langenselbold, and that's where I started actually my flying career. When I was 14, I started to fly with the gliders, got my license with 17, and then I built on this my PPL A, so to say. That was the motor. Then nowadays this is called the single engine piston license. And one other thing influenced my career, that was this movie coming out in the 1985. It was Top Gun. No, really.
I guess you are the only one who took this as advice to become a pilot.
Probably not. And yeah, I started to be. I got this wish actually to become a fighter pilot, which I did actually. I joined the Air Force when I was 20 years old, and I stick to the Air Force for 11.5 years, flying the several airplanes, but I was based with the fighter bomber wing 32 in Lechfeld and flew the Tornado. Yeah, and after 11.5 years I got the opportunity to change my flying career into, let's say, a less stressful flying kind of.
Yeah, can imagine.
And I had the chance to apply for the Hapag-Lloyd. After I joined Hapag-Lloyd, I had the opportunity to fly the Boeing 737 and the Airbus A310. I did that with passion as a first officer, and then after 7.5 years, the opportunity came up to join the Aerologic. And Aerologic came up with a plan, so to say, a fast accelerate command plan to become a captain on a 777. And I took the chance, and this is now about 9.5 years ago, so almost 10 years next year.
So you've been there from the very first day, basically?
I've been there from the almost from the very first days, yeah. I joined the company, and I don't regret it.
Yeah, that's the important point.
And now we are here, and I'm flying the 777 as a commander, and I really like it. I mean, some funny thing about it is I used a documentary with the Discovery Channel years ago, and they asked me if I ever could imagine to being a pilot on a commercial aircraft, and I said definitely no, no, not at all, really. And even the famous thing in the movie Top Gun, like if you behave like this,
yeah,
you will end up flying a rapid dog shit out of Hong Kong. I mean, it's not rapid dog shit that we fly out of Hong Kong, but we are there pretty much.
Yeah,
and all of the time, when I started flying to Hong Kong, I thought about this. The things what they said, it was funny.
The most important question which comes up in this matter is, of course, Maverick or Iceman.
Come on, yeah. Now it's Iceman the later years.
So you started off like a Maverick, or what?
Yeah. I started off. No, actually.
So
it's not.
Low passes next to the tower and stuff.
Not really, not really. Not. I mean, this.
So you behaved.
One thing is the movie, and the other thing is the reality. I behaved in military. I behaved here.
You better do, I guess.
You better stick to your SOPs and rules and regs. Yeah, but this is basically about my career, how I started it, and yeah, I think it was quite exciting. But I prefer nowadays our ops with Aerologic. This is quite not only interesting. We have a really nice network around the world that we're flying to. That includes South America, the Middle East, China, and up to Japan. Lots to see. The United States, obviously, got a couple of destinations over there. So it keeps it interesting, really interesting.
What's the favorite one then?
The favorite?
Yeah.
Favorite, I would say, is Hong Kong. Hong Kong is always, it's a classic. I mean, JFK, New York is also quite nice. And they say even in songs that it's a city that never sleeps. But until you have been to Hong Kong, you might think New York City is a city that never sleeps. But Hong Kong is better. They really never sleep.
They sleep even less.
And if you know where to go in Hong Kong, I mean, this is kind of 24 hours, 7 days a week, places to go. Pretty nice.
That is true. If you ever get the chance to get to Hong Kong, do it.
Yeah.
As I get out of this story, flying is kind of an emotional thing for you as well. So
it is. The choice to make a career as an aviator, that was something I really never regret. I mean, this is kind of, it's a dream. It's a kind of a dream, and it was for me a dream as a child, and it turned out I was lucky and healthy enough to do that, what I wanted, like becoming the fighter pilot thing, and then going to the commercial flying, and that is something I really can still recommend. Yeah.
Yeah, this is. I guess this is where our stories meet when it comes to the passion about flying. Because there is quite a funny story actually for me as well. After I decided to become a pilot, I did my school until the age of 14, and then I started to become really bad at school, and I left school at the age of 16 with really bad marks. So
really
bad marks.
I thought every pilot has a
has something called Abitur and or something equivalent to Abitur. But this is basically how why I tell it, because I'm the living proof that not every pilot has Abitur or something equivalent. I became really bad at school because I wasn't really interested in the stuff they tell me at school. I was rather sitting in front of the flight simulator. Actually, I was doing overnight long-haul flights in real time. So I sat like 10-12 hours in front of the flight simulator overnight. Yeah,
Crazy.
I did that. Yeah,
Crazy.
Did that. And I was not sleeping as well. So basically the same thing I do now, but now I do it on a quite cool place. Anyway, I was getting bad at school, and then I decided to do a apprenticeship to fund my flight training. So I did the PPL alongside my apprenticeship, and I was quite happy that I left school, because the apprenticeship was much better, because it funded my flight training, obviously. And apart from that, I was not really beloved by teachers, because all of them told me that I will never get a proper job and all that stuff. And,
which you did,
of course. Of course, I will never be a pilot. Of course. Story continues. I was then I finished my apprenticeship, and I finished my PPL, and then I gathered some experience on the small piston planes. And then step after step I gathered my CPL, my instrument rating, my multi-pilot or my multi-engine piston rating, and all the things necessary to apply on the job market. And the bad thing was that was at the years of 2011, where it was not the best place to be a rookie pilot on the job market.
But so this is different now. This is different.
It is different now. It is now a very good time to be a rookie pilot, but not back then. And so I was stuck with my job I had as a telecommunication technician, and I continued working there and applying for jobs, and I sent out like 200 applications, and out of 200 applications I sent out, there were 201 rejected. So that was the spirit, pretty much. Yeah. But
times changed.
There were times changed. But back in the day, there were two types of airplanes I want to fly. The first one was the 737, the second one was the 777. So there was no way around that for me, and I pursued. I wanted to get on the 737, and after 3.5 years actually of being unemployed as a pilot, I got hired by a very famous Irish low-cost airline.
Oh!
Yeah.
What might that be? Ryanair?
Could be. Maybe. I'm not telling it, but he's quite close. And yeah, I was hired by them on the 737, and I was flying for them. Gathered a lot of takeoffs, a lot of landings, a lot of experience, which I am really happy about, and I do really appreciate that. And after that, I was looking to change over to my ultimate airplane, which is of course the 777. So
wow,
that's why I applied for Aerologic, and I'm really happy for this opportunity.
So when did you join? When did you join?
I joined last year.
In October, was it?
It was
August?
September, I guess.
September.
1st September, yeah.
Okay.
And quite happy to be here, but yeah.
Nice. Turned out nice. Yeah, that is something that you can take with you. If you believe in something, if you want to do something, just stick to it and try hard.
Yeah.
I mean, there are a couple of things that you can't influence. It's like your health, and I mean, if you don't pass it through a medical, that's probably it. But it's most of the time not your fault. But Other than that, if the times are bad for hiring pilots and stuff, they will change. They will change again, and there are several ways of ending up in a nice cockpit. There are some carriers, they still take you from the beginning as without experience and doing the flight school, but Germany talking, I can't think about one. There's none actually. Besides Aerologic. Aerologic has this program together with the TFC Käufer, where they give young guys the opportunity to start flying training from the really beginning. If this is not possible anymore, or you don't pass the test, whatever, no reason for giving up the dream. You just started on another way. Do your training and your career. Start with another flight school. There are plenty of them. And then apply as a ready entry first officer. That is also one thing that you could do to start your career.
Yeah, that is true, and especially there are a lot of people who say, yeah, well, I don't have the money and I don't have this and I don't have that. The only thing that really matters is the desire. If there is no way, then go and make one. That's like I did. I was basically, to all of those who are sitting in front of the screen now, wanting to become a pilot, this message is for you. Basically, I was in your shoes. I was sitting at home in front of my PC and watching AirClips movies and everything basically available on YouTube related to flying. And I wanted one thing. I wanted this seat, and I was not willing to negotiate this. So this is another important thing. If you want something and it gets hard, don't negotiate. Everybody is negotiating when it's getting hard. So yeah, well, probably, I don't know, flying some weird thing in at the other end of the world is fair enough. So I wanted the Boeing 747, but this one is fine as well. No, if you want something, go and get it and pursue it as long as it takes to get this dream. Do it.
German Cargo 531, contact Praha, 128.230, goodbye.
128.230, German Cargo 531, goodbye. And the latest clearance was inbound Hotel Delta Oscar, okay?
Checked.
Radar, good afternoon, German Cargo 531, Level 340 via inbound cancel.
German Cargo 531 radar, good afternoon, radar contact.
Yeah, we're approaching now our point of descent in about 6 minutes. That would be on schedule by, but I think we get an earlier descent and have to reach Hermsdorf by a certain level. Let's see what happens in the next seconds or minutes.
The voice of experience, Hermsdorf at a certain level.
If we don't get those this descent in the next minute, I will trigger them for the descent. The reason why we're doing that, descending a little bit earlier than on their schedule at the top of descent point, is to reduce engine wear and tear. So it's better for the engines that they are not running right out of the cruise into the idle mode right away. So we just drop the power a little bit, and then at a certain point where it catches the flight path in VNAV, it will be anyway in the idle mode. Ask for descent, okay?
Yep.
Radar, German Cargo 531 requesting descent.
German Cargo 531, roger, descent for level 310.
German Cargo 531 descending flight level 310.
310 is checked.
So
as I mentioned before, we are now in the descent. We left the flight level 340 and the aircraft is scheduled that it reduces the thrust until we get a descent rate of about 1,000 to 1,500 feet. Once we catch the flight path, now we will, when we fly into the flight path, the throttles will be in the VNAV mode, retard until idle. But right now they're dropped back just a little bit to allow a descent of about 1,000 feet to catch the flight path in between.
what is interesting as well on the 777 freighter compared to the passenger version is the widespread of possible landing weights, because with more than 100 tons of freight capacity, you can be 100 tons heavier or 100 tons lighter in the passenger version. It is just, it can be full or empty. It makes a difference of, let's call it 30 tons. And this, what we're dealing with here is a spread in landing weight, which is possible of about 100 tons, which is quite a lot.
I get us another ATIS, the latest ATIS.
Yeah, thanks. Checked.
German Cargo 531, contact Praha 127.825, goodbye.
127.825, German Cargo 531, goodbye.
825.
Radar, good afternoon, German Cargo 531, passing flight level 315, descending 310.
German Cargo 531, ahoy, radar contact, descent level 260, level by Hotel Delta Oscar.
Descent flight level 260 to be level by Hotel Delta Oscar, German Cargo 531.
260 is checked.
Checked.
There's the latest ATIS. Same conditions as before. QNH 1022 set.
C497, ahoy, radar contact, direct Papa Romeo 532.
I print this version.
Yep.
Level 130, Papa Romeo 532 direct, děkujeme, CSA 497.
Styren 14 Lima, call Vienna, 125 decimal 175, ahoy.
175, Austrian 14 Lima, ahoy.
Sky Triple 2 India, Juliet, contact Praha, 127 decimal 580, ahoy.
127.580.
So, like I said before, as expected, we got this level restriction at Hermsdorf, which is Hotel Delta Oscar, flight level 260. And afterwards we pretty much expect radar vectors into Leipzig. The ATC traffic, if ATC traffic permits, we will get those, and it's more or less a straight-in approach into runway 26 left.
Yeah, because of the fact that the Leipzig airport is used pretty much as a freight hub rather than a big passenger airport. Most of the traffic is during the night rather than during the day. So that's why it is quite calm and easy to fly to Leipzig during daytime.
Another thing that is quite special about Leipzig is the airspace structure around the airfield. Usually we are used to to fly the whole approach and the descent, especially in flight level 100 and below, in protected airspace, where the IFR traffic is separated from the IFR traffic. That applies, for example, Frankfurt, Berlin, and other big airports around the world. But Leipzig, it's a big airport, but they have this airspace structure, a special one, that they have Class E airspace above it, above the CTR. That means we have to watch out for VFR traffic, if possible, if we are in VMC below flight level 100, pretty much. This is especially a factor on the weekends, when lots of private flying takes place, but applies also obviously during the week. So 250, for example, is our speed limit. Below flight level 200.
Rate 1000 or more and contact Munich 131.0555.
We keep our descent rate of 1500 or more. Contact Munich on 130.055. Bye bye. Yeah.
Was it 1500?
Yeah, 1500.
Relative speed minus 1500.
München Radar, good afternoon. German Cargo 531 out of flight level 2860, descending 260 inbound Hamstone.
German Cargo 531, hello, München Radar identify, descent flight level 200, proceed direct Lisbon.
German Cargo 531, descending flight level 200, proceeding direct to Lisbon.
Yeah, exactly as we expected, flight level 200, Lisbon top.
200 is checked, execute.
50, goodbye.
Velocity 5 Lima Whiskey, 13645.
Jo, genau. Sky Fox 6 Romeo Zulu, contact Praha Radar 127.825, goodbye.
Match, or the catch to path.
Sky Fox 6 Romeo.
All NAFITs identified.
Checked.
DC27 Yankee Hotel, 1,500 feet per minute or greater sufficient.
Some steady, DC27 Yankee Hotel. We'll probably keep this rate of descent because we'll probably get a little bit high. Thanks.
Okay, roger. Then contact Bremen 136.450. Bye bye.
136.45, easy 27 Yankee Hotel. Goodbye.
Get off 21 Yankee, descend level 290 to La Luna.
Film 21 Yankee, allow Munich Radar identified. Descent flight level 240.
Descend level 240, get off 21 Yankee.
German Cargo 531, descent flight level 80.
German Cargo 531, descending flight level 80.
80.
80 is checked.
Speed 320, catch the path.
Yeah, what we are just doing, since we got a short track, we don't have that much on air miles to go, and that's why we ended up slightly above the flight path. And right now we are catching this flight path when we were just putting the flight level change mode and increasing the speed. So once we are again back in the flight path, which will happen pretty soon, we can engage vertical navigation again, VNAV path.
München is good, Eurowings 778, passing level 337, descend level 320.
Eurowings 778, hello, Munich Radar identified, descent flight level 290 at 2,000 feet per minute or greater.
Descend level 290, 2,000 more, Eurowings 778.
So, getting to the flight path again.
Wiener.
Eurowings 778, descent flight level 190, cross Hermsdorf at level.
Down level 190 to be level by Hermsdorf, Eurowings 778.
KLM 21 Yankee, contact Praha Radar 127.825, goodbye.
1785, KLM 21 Yankee, goodbye.
waste on the right side.
Brilliant weather.
What a beautiful Friday afternoon.
Yeah. Today the clouds that you can see, they are particularly good for glider flying, and even if it's during the week on a Friday, we just have to pay particular attention to gliders below the cloud bases once we become below flight level 100, as mentioned before.
German Cargo 531, contact München 126.175, goodbye.
German Cargo 531, contact Munich on 126.175, München radar, German Cargo 531, out of flight level 112, descending flight level 80, information Romeo.
German Cargo 531, München radar, hello, identified Romeo, correct, expect the ILS approach to 6 left, descend 5,000 feet, QNH 1022.
German Cargo 531, we expect the ILS to 6 left, descending 5,000 feet on the QNH 1022.
5,000 feet set, QNH 1022 set, approach checklist.
Checked. Approach checklist, altimeters.
Set right.
Set left, approach checklist complete.
Thanks. There is the deceleration segment, as the aircraft is aware of the speed limit of 250 below 10,000. It plans for a deceleration, which it does at the moment.
And this is a quite high cloud base today for those cumulus clouds. $10,000.
Checked. 10,250, isn't it perfect?
German Cargo 531, after this bird gate, let's approach runway 26 left.
German Cargo 531, after this bound, we have made ILS 6 left.
Much better now below the clouds, huh?
Yep. That's 7.8 the cloud base, 7.6.
Yeah.
Something.
8,000, 8,000 about that. So the glide path is alive.
Checked.
Checked. The field is in sight.
Checked. So,
Delta Golf Sierra, expect to be established via 1 miles final, descent to 4,000 feet, and turn left heading 130.
change snap speed.
Descending 4,000 feet and left heading 210.
Flaps 1.
Left heading 130.
Left heading 130, okay, that's true.
Flaps 1 set.
Checked.
Localizer capture.
Checked.
Flaps 5. Classic München 129.525, please.
129.525, please. Be good, 141.
German Cargo 531, established RLS 26 level.
German Cargo 531, Dankeschön, Contact Tower 121.1, please.
121.1, German Cargo 531, please.
Glide slope capture.
Checked. 5,000 feet set.
Leipzig Tower, guten Tag. German Cargo 531, alles 267.
German Cargo 531, Leipzig Tower, hallo. Wind 260 degrees, 9 knots, gust 19 knots, runway 26 left, clear to land.
German Cargo 531, clear to land, runway 26 left.
Good, clear to land. So for the approach speed later on, that will be 156 plus the 10 knots gas. Okay. 166.
It's 9 gusting 19, was it?
9 gusting 19, but 10 knots anyway because of our new restriction. So we left plus 10 and the 9 on top, not exceeding 20.
Good.
Leipzig Tower,
Autopilot out, throttle disconnect.
Holding short runway 26 right, Alpha 8.
Copy 818, Leipzig Tower, line up runway 26 right.
Line up runway 26 right, over 818.
Missed approach altitude is already set.
Check, get on flaps 20.
Flaps 20 set.
Checked. Flaps 25. Not standard. And flaps 30 set, VRF speed.
Flaps 30 set.
Landing check is
complete.
Check is complete.
Copy 818, wind 280 degrees, 9 knots, runway 26 right, set for takeoff.
Get for takeoff, runway 26 right, with 818, goodbye.
Remain my frequency after departure, please.
Standing by, after departure with 818.
Please confirm, remain on my frequency.
Yes, confirm. Your frequency, Pavia 818.
Correct. German Cargo 9 knots.
Copy.
1000.
Stabilized?
Checked.
Cargo 521, traffic Boeing 737, departing 26 right with a right turn after departure.
That is copy. Cargo 521.
Flight director?
Checked.
400. 300. Approaching minimum.
Checked.
Minimums.
Continue.
Wow.
100.
Those birds are not good in front of us.
50. 40. 30. 20.
818, contact wind radar now, frequency 126.175.
Speed break up.
126.175, Bermuda 818, have a
Reverse normal.
Von Ende genau, verbucht die Frequency, schönen Tag noch, tschüss.
Christopher 60, ist Brucht, danke, gleichfalls, tschüss.
Maybe the second exit for now.
Yeah.
Manual brake.
Cargo 531, 03, left tango, contact ground 118.
03, left tango, 118, trust cargo 531.
60 knots. My controls.
Your controls.
Siehst du diesen Selbstmörder hier? You see that? the little bird?
Yeah.
Incredible. There was a flock of birds actually, just in our touchdown zone. I hope we didn't hit one. Okay. 121.8 was the frequency.
Oh. That's ground. Very good afternoon. German Cargo 531.
A very good afternoon. German Cargo 531. Count here left tango. Leave tango via Sierra 8 and Victor. Your stand is 485.
Via Tango, Sierra 8 and Victor, stand 485, German Cargo 531.
Jo, schönen Feierabend, schönes Wochenende. Bye bye.
Ja, und das alles zurück. Danke, ciao.
German Cargo 210, ready for departure, 26 left.
German Cargo 210, Roger Tower, 121. Tschüss, guten Flug.
Wunderbar, Form 1, vielen Dank, ciao, German Cargo 210.
Today is my birthday. First, an eagle tries to catch my bread from the breakfast table, and right now we are landing into a flock of birds. I mean small birds, but crazy.
Okay, Twin Star 705.
I hope we didn't hit one.
35 bonus crash approved. Did you copy your clearance?
Our colleagues.
Roger, Twin Star 705.
The German Cargo 520 just took off.
Jochen is laughing in advance because he knows what's coming. Right side is clear.
Chris, that was a very, very important call.
There could be somebody.
So, the follow me is waiting for us.
Very good. APU is running. Checked.
You see the flock of birds over there?
Yeah, most of them are still alive.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Maybe they joined the funeral now. For the guys that didn't make it.
humor.
What was our scheduled on-block time?
45, sir.
45, so we have 9 minutes to go. I would say this is pretty much in time. .485. That's it. Shutdown checklist.
Parking brake
is set.
Shutdown checklist complete.
Okay, could you please?
Thanks.
You're welcome. Everything's fine. Could you please disarm the doors?
I can.
Captain Bohlen, bitte.
Jo, go ahead.
Hallo, schönen guten Tag. Herzlich willkommen in Leipzig. Wir stecken Bodenstrom, setzen die Schocksumme und dann melde ich mich nochmal, okay?
Perfekt. Vielen Dank.